Hey guys, I'm your host Ayush Sharma, and welcome to the Kairos podcast where we talk all about entrepreneurship, business mindsets, and work ethics from a college student's point of view. You can watch us on YouTube or listen to us on Spotify or Google Podcasts, or you can even sign up to our newsletter at kairos.in. To all our viewers and listeners out there, this is not financial advice. Please do your own research before investing into any kind of asset. There's a surprise at the end of the video where I've shared all the resources that I've gathered for the research of this very particular podcast, as well as the resources that I personally use to research about crypto and altcoins. Please make sure to watch the video till the end. With that said, in today's episode, we are going to talk all about cryptocurrencies and its future, as well as the marketing tactics used by CoinDCX that made it one of the largest cryptocurrencies exchanges out there. We have a very special guest with us today, Ramalingam Subramaniam. With over 10 years of marketing expertise in creating and scaling his own company, Praraman, he is currently the marketing head of CoinDCX with a goal to make crypto more accessible to people. If I missed anything, please add on to it, Ram.
Yes, I take care of marketing efforts here at CoinDCX. And yes, that's our goal, making crypto accessible to everyone.
Yeah. Once again, thanks for being here on the Kairos podcast. As I learned more about blockchain and crypto, I was very intrigued by this very particular concept, right? Money has been around for several thousands of years, right? In the medieval era, it literally held value. It was created by precious metal like gold and silver, right? But it was very inefficient to carry around. So we switched to a paper-based economy, which was backed up by gold, right? But right now, fiat currencies like US dollar or Indian rupee aren't backed up by anything but the credibility of the government, you say, right? Which, if you think long enough, is just a bunch of people. So they control the worth of money indirectly, which makes it very, very centralized. But blockchain, on the other hand, is decentralized. Can you please share your views on what is decentralization and what is blockchain, and more importantly, how crypto is changing the concept of money?
Sure. So fiat is a Latin word. It means by decree or by order.
Mhm.
Um, so the value that your paper note gets is because someone has given that as a order. So you can see um, in all our currency notes, there is a RBI governor's line saying that I promise to pay the bearer of this note, right? They are trying to tell is there is one authority that is saying that this is valued at something. Okay. Now that's a very system that has been working for a long time, works well in various cases, works well in various scenarios, has certain limitations when we want to expand it further, right? And that's where technology comes in, right?
Mhm.
Every technology that has been there has solved a particular problem and we have moved on, right, to
Right.
discover new options and opportunities. Blockchain is a very simple concept. I generally relate it to the ledger or a book that so most of us live in societies nowadays, and because of the entire COVID protocols, there is a register at your security office or at the basement or whatever, wherever you stay. And in those societies, there is a watchman or a security guard who makes an entry of whoever is entering and whoever is exiting. Right.
Right.
The basic rule of that book is you can only make entries into it. If you make an edit, if you try to change data, it is at times considered a legal offense. Okay. Uh,
Right.
so basically, that's a record of whoever has entered and exited of your system. Imagine that's a ledger that is out there. Now, one whenever, for example, you as a society member wants to go and check who has come in, who has come out, you have to go back to that security guard's book and check that. It takes you
Mhm.
time, takes you effort, you have to walk all the way there, and you have to trust the security guard to have it having made that entry. Okay. Can
Exactly.
we imagine a system where we don't need to trust this person? Plus, you don't have to spend so much energy to get that data. Right? That's what was the basis behind blockchain. So blockchain helps solve that. Philosophically, I feel blockchain is a technology similar to very much similar to the invention of fire or the discovery of fire, the invention of the wheel.
Right.
Uh, the car, the aeroplane, right? We are all at that stage right now where we are, because of this one particular technology, a lot of opportunities will open up and a lot many benefits can come in, including the biggest application that we've seen so far is in finance. Right? But there are multiple more options out there. Blockchain is very much prevalent in logistics, in multiple different use cases. So, according to me, blockchain is that technological wave that is going to change the way we think, change the way we accept. Like we accept money to be in a particular format. It is helping us rethink that should money be the same way? Should it be centralized? Can there be a decentralized system? Do we need to actually and so on and so forth? So there are a lot of possibilities that blockchain opens up, and my belief is it's a technology worth trying.
Yeah, there were very, very bold terms that he used, like comparing blockchain to the invention of the fire or the invention of the wheel, right? I also believe that blockchain is a revolutionary technology, right? But I don't completely believe that it's all decentralized, not 100% though, because not like the founder of Bitcoin, whose identity is still unknown, but let's say Vitalik, the founder of Ethereum. You know, his beliefs and his passion, his driven nature, as well as his passion to change the world for good, right, has made the price of Ethereum very high, right? People and investors believe in his beliefs, right? What do you think? What's gonna happen in the future? Like these central figures, they can influence the market, they can control the market, or they are just going to set aside and let the financial systems and the cryptocurrencies market have it. What are your views on that?
Sure. So before I jump into that, I don't believe that it's only because of Vitalik's efforts that the Ethereum price is rising. There are multiple more.
Exactly.
The
It is
world
one
is
of those.
building on Ethereum, right? The next generation apps, level 2, level 3, things are being done there, and that is one of the major reasons. Also, Ethereum itself is undergoing a big change from proof of work to proof of staking. A lot of different things are happening in the Ethereum ecosystem. Having said that, see, when you talk about trading, right? When you talk about volatility, when you talk about price rise and price movements, it's similar with any asset class, right? It's always the same case where there might be a few people who might influence, right? We all know what. So amazing thing that came up recently was this entire series around um,
The stock market.
the stock market thing, right? I forgot. I
Right.
forgot.
Yeah, the Harshad Mehta one.
Harshad Mehta, yeah, sorry. So Harshad Mehta was an influencer, right? Was a manipulator. Maybe. Now he did good, he did bad, lots of things, right? The bad ones are the ones that get caught, right?
Right. He did find a lot of loopholes.
Yeah, so there are always players who play the market, who manipulate the market, and we don't want them, right? How can we avoid all of this, and how can we avoid control with a few people? Is by making it distributed, by making it decentralized, and doing our own research, right? Is decentralized always a solution to everything? I wouldn't say that it has been a solution everywhere, right? We believe, so when social media came in, right? Something like Twitter came out. We all felt news is getting decentralized, right? Now there are questions about Twitter and Facebook controlling the narrative, not just in India but globally as well. So there will always be challenges. We'll have to figure out solutions for it, and that's how we evolve, right? We grow. We find out there are newer problems that come in. We solve them. We grow further. So, is the technology bad? Is the concept bad because of a few people? No, the concept is good. How we utilize it is all up to us. We also should be careful that we don't get swayed by influencers out there. We do our own research, and believe me, most of the influencers out there, right, they will always recommend this. And even you began this, right? This is not a financial advice. You began
Exactly.
with that. So everyone tells that. And everyone wants to ensure that they are providing the right education out there.
Mhm.
There can be few players who are trying to do this. In the long term, this is very common that I have heard this multiple times. In the long term, everyone is naked, right?
Right.
So things come out, people understand, and people evolve and learn and grow. That's how I would treat it.
Yeah, that's a great explanation. Just like in a video game, when a player is at level 1, he encounters a different set of challenges and he faces them and fights through them, basically gaining experience points and leveling up, evolving through the process, right? And then he has to adapt to a different surrounding and face a different set of challenges. That's the goal of learning and growing with the knowledge of crypto should be for us, right? No, and after listening to all those intellectual peoples out there, getting into the depth of what crypto is and how it is currently changing the world, I really really understood it very well. I had the confidence to invest in the crypto world, right? And not just accepting the word of an influencer and just going blindly all into one altcoin. That's really shouldn't be any strategy, right? We really should all do our research on crypto, before investing. And yeah, with that, I really want to know about your journey in crypto, right? When and how did you hear about Bitcoin or crypto, right? And why did you choose to invest in it, right?
2010-11 is when I got to first know about Bitcoin. There was a separate project that I was working on. Um, it was around the AI ML kind of a process. I had basically using a decentralized way of creating an Alexa. That's what we were working back then, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, the way in which we could monetize this was using a system of payments, micro payments to people. So if you train my bot for 1 hour, you get paid say X paisa, right? That's the way we
Right.
were trying to build the model. Distributing that payment with the existing systems at hand was becoming cumbersome, and that's when my first experience of Bitcoin came around, where it gave me a solution to a problem that I was facing. All right. Years later, a lot of things happened around the Bitcoin piece. A lot of things happened in my life. 2019 is when our founders, Sumit, actually gave me a call, explained to me what his vision and journey is, and what he wants to do with the CoinDCX brand, and what he wants to do with crypto in India, and so on and so forth. Uh, the next day, I was at CoinDCX, spent around 4 or 5 hours with a lot of different people, and the day after that, I was primarily a member of CoinDCX. So that's how I entered.
Right.
A lot of questions. I entered with a lot of questions, a lot of unlearning to do, a lot of
Mm-hmm.
learning to do. Yeah, so that's been my journey. I have learned a lot, understood the nuances, questioned a few beliefs that I had. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, have evolved myself.
Yeah, that's great. Your transition to CoinDCX is very good, right? And you have played a important, a major role in the marketing of CoinDCX, right? By the way, congratulations on gaining 1.5 million downloads on the CoinDCX Go app, right? And can you please share your views on the platform itself? It's great. I've been using it, right? And firstly, the web portal, which has so many features for traders like spot, margin, etc., right? And secondly, the CoinDCX Go app, which is for let's say for the general public, right? It's a very safer way to invest for a beginner. And what is the 7M rule that is implemented in this?
Sure. Okay, so CoinDCX is a huge product by now. Yeah, it has a lot of features in it. Um, right, as you pointed out, staking, lending, margin, futures,
Mm-hmm.
spot INR, specific products like Insta, for example. When we thought of so let me take you back to Supreme Court's verdict in March 2020, and then came our entire Try Crypto movement, where
Mm-hmm.
we found out there were a couple of things that were missing in the puzzle to develop or draw that kind of not global, Indian acquisition at a large scale.
Right.
Um, Education was an important aspect, so we created DCX Learn for education. Uh, Compliance, right? We had this belief that in when 2017 happened, right, and 2018, the RBI was forced to take certain actions. If you read the Supreme Court verdict, they are saying that RBI did a right thing, but
Mm-hmm.
they could not prove the extensive damage that was being done. Having said that, the point was people entered without a lack of clarity, and people entered and got involved in tokens that were not very safe, right?
Right.
This time around, when we said, like, obviously it's a market, there will be a bull cycle, a bear cycle. So when there is a bull cycle, people will come try to enter into the
Mm-hmm.
space, and they might enter again in those wrong tokens, right?
Right.
We said, okay, let's do one thing. Let's create a compliance framework that creates kind of a safety net for the new people. Okay.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
And we created this. We have right? CoinDCX is in India, but we also have a global presence. We are also present in Singapore. Uh, what happened is we created a we do have a global compliance team which created this entire framework called 7M, which takes into consideration various factors for a token.
Mm-hmm.
And we ensured that anything that passes that rule will be available for people who are entering for the first time.
Right.
For the third thing that we wanted to solve was making product very simple. Before we had the CoinDCX Go app, we also realized this, that CoinDCX product is very complicated for a newbie, right?
Exactly.
Someone who comes for the first time will be overwhelmed with the features, right? Like,
Right.
what all is there in this? So we said, okay, let's create something simpler for people so that they can enter safely. We created a compliance framework. We created an entire new product. We actually went back to the drawing board and created a new product altogether called CoinDCX Go. We launched it in mid-January this year.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, as you mentioned, 1.5 million downloads in less than 3 months, which is a good number, but it also showcases the amount of interest people have in crypto in India.
Right. Yeah, yeah. As you mentioned before, the D6 Learn platform, right? Before earning, there must be learning of the subject that you are getting into, right? So a lot of the youth is intrigued by crypto because all the influencers around the world are talking about it, right? And they want to get in the market and make some money, right? But learning is an important part before getting into it, right? So your views on the D6 Learn platform and how can it help a college student like myself get into the crypto market and know more about what's happening.
Sure. So there are a lot of different courses on
Mhm.
DCX Learn. When we envisioned DCX Learn, we felt that we should provide um, good quality education. We did not just want to create another blog, right?
Mhm.
Some articles here and there. We wanted to create a proper structure. We got experts, uh, people who have worked who came from the London School of Economics, people who have written thesis on blockchain, and have worked with United Nations. People like of that caliber, we brought them here to write the courses for us. We also got partners, right? So if you see, we recently launched the video section on DCX Learn.
Mhm.
We also have courses, right? Third-party courses where we have tied up with Blockchain Council, for example, where we are providing certification programs, and so on
Mhm.
and so forth. So there are a lot of different things that we have been doing. DCX Learn is an initiative from our side where we are keeping education free so that people can understand blockchain, people can understand crypto, and with this knowledge, can make informed decisions.
Yeah, that's great. It's really great to know that CoinDCX is taking an initiative to not just making people to buy crypto, but to making them informed of what crypto really is and how it works and what really holds of the future, and if it can be treated as a viable asset class or not. People, or if people should make it a part of their portfolio or not, right? And with that said, right, your marketing and brand management campaigns have done really well, right? The campaigns like Try Crypto and Bitcoin Liya Kya aren't just focusing on promoting Bitcoin and making people to get into coin research, or just a way, or just putting it as a way to make money, right? They are focusing more on making people learn and understand what crypto really is, treating it as a viable asset class, like that. And yeah, what are your views on that?
Sure, sure. So, right. So the Try Crypto initiative was very, very simple. We were on the we were in our offices at that time, this pre-pandemic, when we were trying to understand what could be that particular term, right? Which basically tells people that this is a good opportunity out there. Uh, if you are into someone who wants to create wealth with strong fundamentals, how can I convince that person? And after a lot of deliberation, this small term I could coin up called Try Crypto, right? Which is very simple. I'm not asking you to buy. I'm not asking you to trade. I'm just asking you to try it once.
Give it a chance.
Yeah. So, and we were very sure that if someone gives it a try, okay, the concept, the fundamentals are so strong that people will stay, right? So that's the whole idea around that. We with the Try Crypto, we understand a lot of things had to be done. DCX learn, compliance, a new product altogether, lot of efforts within the community to educate, right? So a lot of things were done around that. When it comes to Bitcoin liya kya, right? So this time around, when we came up with this whole thing, part of the Try Crypto initiative overall was that there are three major inputs. One was we did not want to talk about astronomical gains. It was very clear from us that 400%, 500%, 1000%, that is something that we don't want to sell, because that's not what you should be here for. There are a lot of fundamentals out there. You should be there for it. Second piece, we wanted to showcase, or we wanted to actually raise a question in everyone's mind, right? And normalize Bitcoin. There are people think, okay, there's technology, there is this and there is that, so many different things behind it. We wanted to normalize it. Like there is this asset number 2, asset number 3. Why not asset number 4? Right. A very simple question, a hard-hitting question. Also, there were layers to it, asking women to ask the guy, right? So to showcase that it's not about men, it's not about someone who's only successful. It's all about the average person. It's also about the women of the house who actually take strong decisions. So we wanted to bring in all those layers. And lastly, the third point was obviously utilizing humor, right? Finance is generally very serious. Finance is something that people are like, you can imagine a person in finance always suited, booted, tied, always up straight, right? But crypto is not that way. Crypto is fun. Crypto is having all its meme tokens and so on and so forth. Lots of things. We wanted to also bring in the idea of humor, which basically helps us make it a option, right? Which people can accept. It normalizes things. It makes it simpler for people. Humor helps us do that extensively, and primarily that was the entire focus on the entire campaign of Bitcoin Liya Kya. And I'm happy it's seeing good traction.
Right. Trading is always seemed as an high input profession. Like you have to be on the screen 24/7 to make any gains, right? But it has been portrayed really really hard, right? But with your campaign, the ad, right, it has been portrayed really really relaxing to the general public. Like if it's not like you have to do all those courses and get to know more about the history and what's going on in the market every single day, every single minute, right? But just to just you have to learn about basics, and then you're good to go, right? And your campaign has really really done well in that. And although people are coming onto your platform via that marketing campaign, right, but the switch for Indian traders to crypto, right, is gonna be difficult, right? And while 14% of the US population holds some kind of cryptocurrency, right, while only less than 1%, or around 8 million people in India, hold or trade crypto, right? While with Try Crypto, CoinD6 plans to get about 50 million people onto the crypto world, right? And it's really quite a big number. So how is CoinD6 planning to acquire that goal, right? And what are your steps? And right, and lastly, what is the deadline that you are seeing?
So uh, deadline is very interesting. So I don't want to make it a target oriented piece, because then the intentions might get wavered. If I say I want to get 50 million people by the end of this year, I can get it. That's not a challenge. But I
Mm-hmm.
don't want to get it because there is some target out there, right? It
Right.
should be something that naturally people want to be associated. It also gives some kind of freedom to people who are freedom to marketeers, right? To do the right thing, because
Mm-hmm.
sometimes under pressure you will end up, just to hit your targets, you will end up doing things which may not be the right way to go about it.
Mm-hmm.
Having said that, as you pointed out, there are um, a lot of opportunities. There is a lot of opportunity out there. 1%. So see parallels, around 4% is insurance, around 8% is mutual funds.
Mm-hmm.
I think, if I'm not wrong, around 20-25%, or perhaps even more, is gold. So compared to all these asset classes, yes, there is a huge potential out there. And um, as an industry, as a active member, part of the crypto fraternity in India, I think we all can work together, and we are doing that extensively, to ensure that more and more people end up trying crypto.
Right, right, yeah. They should really take it more seriously, right? It's an asset class, just like any of the stock that you could buy, like Cipla or Wipro, right? You know, people should really look more into it. And just yesterday, a news came out, right? Goldman Sachs, right, they are more bullish on Ethereum than ever, right? They are seeing it as an asset class and saying that people should really look more into it because it's soon going to surpass Bitcoin, right? You know, people and keeping all this aside, right? And talking more about the investment side of it, right? People should really diversify their portfolio, right? In while getting into the crypto market, right? They shouldn't go all in, blindfolded, not knowing anything about it, right? And so really, what is your strategy? How should people diversify their portfolio, right?
So interesting question out there, right? Once you are convinced that crypto is a good asset class to invest in, the next question obviously comes in: how much, right? How much should I
Right.
put in? Uh, our general understanding has been, and this is something that we have been openly telling people, that go between 1 to 5% of your
Mhm.
portfolio into cryptos. Don't go all in. Obviously, it's see there are two parts to an asset. An asset has some long term value, but once that asset is a tradable commodity, it will have volatility, it will have its ups and downs. So with that thing in mind, think about investing 1 to 5%. uh, think about diversifying your portfolio. One thing that we have realized on the CoinD6 Go app, right, is that people are smartly diversifying across a multiple set of tokens out there. And we have also realized that these people are also investing further and further, which
Mhm.
is telling me that once you start investing in a variety of tokens, variety of assets within the crypto sphere itself, once you start diversifying and playing that game, you actually are seeing a lot of gains. And that's what I would suggest: diversify 1 to 5% of your portfolio holding, and within crypto also diversify between some certain large caps and certain small caps here and there.
Yeah, yeah, stability is a necessity, right? Diversifying your portfolio in a way like keeping the major chunk in Ethereum or Bitcoin to keep it stable and keep it safe. But if you're more growth driven, right, you can always invest a major chunk of it in altcoins, but that's not advisable. So yeah, and also the entry and exit points of trades are quite important, right? Well, yeah, and while keeping a chunk of a portfolio where it's safe is really a wise choice, right? But for the more growth driven youth who wants to take risk, like basically we are talking about college students who are willing to invest about 10 to 15K uh, in crypto, right? So should they be only investing in big and proven companies like Bitcoin and Ethereum, or should they be looking more into the altcoins, right? The projects such as Matic, Cardano, and Solano, right?
Sure. So, as an exchange, I should not be advising you. That
Right.
against
This is not a financial advice.
no, but it's against the ethics of a
Yeah.
exchange, right? I run an exchange. I cannot advise one over the other. Uh, but in a general sense, there are good projects.
Mm-hmm.
Matic and Solana and Cardano, the ones that you named, are good projects, right? Study them fundamentally. There is a lot happening in altcoin space also. If you choose your projects right, you can also definitely look at a growth mindset out there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Growing your asset, growing your entire portfolio. um, be careful when you are investing. Study the project, understand why there is a price rise or why there is a drop in price, why is there a rally coming in.
Mm-hmm.
These are very fundamental stuff that you need to know. And there are there if you are good at technical research, study the graphs, study the charts, you'll get to learn a lot there. uh, Ideally, altcoins generally race or rally faster than your stable not stable coins, your large caps like a Bitcoin or
Right.
Ethereum. Generally that's the pattern. But yeah, it also falls at the same rate. So you have to be careful how you're investing. You need to have a strong risk appetite and a good strategy out there.
Yeah, yeah. I also believe in researching about the project before putting any of the hard-earned money into it, right? Reaching out to his community and getting to know about their founder and what's their goal with it, right? With it is right, and basically, how do you research about your crypto, right? What should someone keep in mind before researching about it, and they should not go blindly into it.
When you research, so basic two things: FANTA, fundamental analysis, technical analysis.
Yeah.
You study about the project, you study about the backers, right? One good hack is being part of their communities, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where you get to know what's happening out there. You get to speak with like-minded people, right? Networking helps you get that kind of knowledge very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I wouldn't go. So there is pros and cons to being part of communities, being part of the social media space, because there is a lot of FUDs that can happen, right? A
Right.
lot of uh, negative stuff that can happen. So you have to be smart there, but you get a lot of information being part of these places. The other thing you need to understand is what is that the problem that they are solving, right? And this is something that you would be doing as an investor in any asset class. uh, just take example for equities, right? You look at
Mm-hmm.
uh, uh, why would someone invest in a pharma company today? Say if they
Right.
are getting a big vaccine contract, yes, so they're doing something good, right? They're coming
Mm-hmm.
up with the next medicine that probably helps us treat the pandemic, or a medicine that can be stored at a lower temperature, right? Or a medicine for which the ingredients are locally sourced, so on and so forth. There could be hundreds of reasons how you are going to evaluate a company. Find out that problem that these guys are solving and find out how they are solving it, right? These are things
Mm-hmm.
available on these project sites. There are multiple papers that these guys submit. You can also read about it, like a lot of such projects you can read about it on DCX Learn as well. But beyond that, there are publications where you can go and read about it. Listen to influencers, decide on your own, right? So
Right.
listen to influencers, try to understand what these guys are saying, and most of them work really well. But take a decision not basis what you have heard, but what you believe in. And I feel this cocktail of advice could be good enough for taking good decisions.
Right. So yeah, many people have entered the market because of the FOMO, right? They are feeling that they are going to miss out on that rally, right? I also entered in that phase, right? And I entered in the euphoria of the market, and from then it's going down and down, right? But yeah, that's really great advice, right? To seeing what the product really is and what it is all about, right? And what is the problem that they are going to solve, and especially how are they going to solve it, right? And are they fulfilling all the deadlines, right? Like the project deadlines that they made, or are they fulfilling on the promises that they made, right? As well as being a part of the community, right? Seeing that if it's active or not, These are some great advice on project research, right? And as you told me, right, in 2017, many of the almost 90% of the projects were scam, right? Most people lost the money, and therefore, due to which RBI issued like strict regulation and orders uh, because of crypto, right? So yeah, taking the right entry and exit points are really important as well. If you are short to medium term trader, or planning to hold crypto for a long time, apart from the necessary technical analysis that we can do, by reading the charts, right? uh, do you also plan your exit or entry or exit based on the events of various projects, right? There's the projects Matix coming up with in June, right? And do you plan on taking the trades before or after the event, right? If you think that event's gonna go great, and it's gonna be very helpful for the community of that project itself, do you plan on taking the trade before or after that?
Yeah, this is an investment strategy I should not be talking about.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's a common practice, right? I would just say this, that it's a common practice. People follow events, okay, and they take decisions basis those events, not just in crypto assets, but in various different things, right? Like as I pointed out, because there is a lockdown, because there is a pandemic, certain stocks rise, certain stocks fall. Same way, because of certain events happening out there. Now, this could be events happening within the blockchain itself.
Mm-hmm.
That there might be certain differences. Now, should I invest before or after is basis of my understanding of that event. Right? What is
Okay.
Matic trying to do? Okay,
Mm-hmm.
what is Theta trying to do? Uh, what is a pancake swap trying to do?
Right.
If I can understand that, okay, and if I can, obviously I have to work hard, right? Money doesn't
Right.
come free, right? We have to work hard, study the projects, and definitely see. Interesting part about crypto is, or blockchain is, transparency is very high. Okay,
Right.
compared to other asset classes, transparency is very high. People are out there talking about stuff. There are certain cases where there people are too much out there. You can figure
Right.
that out staying in the circle for a while, but you can get all the information that you want, and that's one beauty of this asset class. You get the information that you need, that you feel is required, and all things are out there in the open, and you can basis that you prepare your own strategy.
Yeah, yeah. you know Risk management and emotion management, especially, are really big part of taking a trade. And how do you manage your emotions while doing a trade, like especially during the recent crash, right? Or you could say it's a correction. How did you control your emotions then, right?
So see, I'll be true, right? Everyone gets worried, everyone gets
Mm-hmm.
scared because you put in a lot of funds. There was a strategy that you were following, and suddenly things start falling apart, right?
Right.
So it's a worrisome moment, but because you are in this space for a while, you understand that things like this can happen. Any tradable commodity will have these cycles, will have these corrections, and that's when because your strategy is not just short term, your strategy is also a bit long term. That's how
Okay.
you plan your trades, right? So as you pointed out, perhaps at this, I think a couple of minutes back, where you said about putting something in Bitcoin, putting something in Ethereum, and putting something in altcoin. So you plan your investments in such a way that um, the impact of the crashes is not too high. Um, Beyond that, you also understand how you are taking those risks, right? I Because everything is going good, you don't need to always go long everywhere,
Right.
right? And you also don't need to short everywhere because everything is going bad. So you need to be present in the moment. As I told you, right, trading is a hard work. Trading is something that you need to give your complete attention to. Okay, you
Mm-hmm.
need to work for it. um, Plan your trades, plan with the thought in mind that there will be corrections, and if you're
Right.
working with that mindset, I think these things will be worrisome, but it won't hurt you that bad.
Yeah, so China's recent ban on crypto mining and the transactions by the company, right? It has led to the plummeting of the market, right? So, what are your views, like if the market's gonna go down a little bit more, or or the recent recovery that we have been seeing, right? That's gonna follow that and go a lot up, right? What's your view on the current situation of the crypto market?
Sure. So there are impacts, global impacts on the markets, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's also one of the beauties of this crypto space, right? It's global. There is no geographic boundary. It's not that India is independent of everything else. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, global events will have impact. Uh, if I look at short term, I always say this, like short term trading in general will be very dynamic in any asset class.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You need to be very, very, very alert and active if you want to do short term trading. But if you're a long term trader, if you believe, as you move towards closer to an investor, right? From a long term forecast, I feel things are going to go always up, right? So yes, there will be dips, there will be ebbs, and there will be flows. There will be tides. All these things would be there. If you are smart enough, you can capitalize on these, make good wealth. But if you're just here for the long term, you will definitely create wealth over a longer period.
Yeah, the long-term trader really don't need to worry about the investment because in the long term, the crypto market is really going to go up, right? Because it has the potential to replace our existing financial system, like the DeFi project that Ethereum is coming up with, right? It has the potential to be the thing that in the future that we are going to use for our day-to-day transactions or everyday payments, right? So it has a great potential in the long term. So yeah, just yesterday or some days before, right, the news came up that Instagram is hosting a panel for NFT creators, right? And there are also rumors that it's going to make a marketplace for NFTs, right? NFTs for those who don't know about NFTs, right? NFTs are basically non-fungible tokens or some kind of information or an artwork or media form, right? That is on the blockchain and can be listed on a marketplace, right? And its ownership can be transferred from one person to another, right? Basically, is that. And yeah, so everyone is talking about NFTs, right? So I want to know your views on NFTs and how can people invest in it, right? And is there something that CoinDesk is doing about it?
See, there is a lot of hype around NFTs. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
There is a lot of good possibilities out there. Okay. In general, CoinDCX does not build on hypes. That's something that we have been very clear on. We don't do
Right.
things because there is a hype. We do things because we believe that's what needs to be done. So, having said that, yes, NFTs are coming up with good solutions. There are certain challenges also with NFTs. Once we are, like, for ourselves being able to get a hold of a safer way in which we can take it to the masses, we'll keep on going back to the drawing board, researching about it, trying to understand stuff.
Mhm.
um, and it's a welcome move. I think the world needs more and more players in crypto, right? In India, we need more and more exchanges to come up, more and more players to come in, right? And that's when true adoption will happen. We
Right.
don't have one stockbroker. We have thousands of stockbrokers out there. We need that kind of a movement. And more players we would definitely welcome. With regards to what Instagram is planning, I think it's a good thing. If they are able to solve the challenges within NFT and make it a more tradable commodity, it's an amazing thing. We'd love to learn from them.
Right.
But yeah, it's a good thing. Overall,
Yeah.
it's very good for the space.
Yeah. And not just artworks, right? There can be other form of NFTs as well. Many companies are planning on doing so. Right now in the medical sector, there's that an individual can compile his own data of his medical history, right? And put it on a blockchain and then can sell it on any marketplace, right? For the medical company to purchase that data, right? Yeah, so there are very big promising things that are coming in the NFT world right now. It's a great thing. It's a great thing. So yeah, during the last dip, most of the exchanges out there, they all crashed, like CoinDesk, WazirX, or even global players like Binance. They all crashed, right? So while the DeFi or decentralized based exchanges, right, like Uniswap, they held strong, right? So, firstly, how is CoinD6 planning to improve, and are you planning on backup if such cases scenarios ever occur again? And what are your views on decentralized coin exchanges, right? Like Uniswap.
Sure, sure. So the event that happened last week, uh, it impacted everyone globally. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
we, like everyone, we also did a post-mortem trying to understand what was right, what was wrong. Fortunately, CoinDCX was largely working fine. There was
Mm-hmm.
a crash in the overall markets, and we decided to do a maintenance activity to understand if things are in order, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because we realized the world is crashing, and in some way or the other, CoinD6 was not. So we wanted to understand and make sure, has something gone wrong which we don't know of, right? So it more than a reactive maintenance, it was a proactive maintenance. We put things in maintenance during that period to check whether
Mm-hmm.
systems were in order. Fortunately, things were in order. Unfortunately, because of that activity, something else happened. Uh, because there were so many people trying to log in together at the same point in time,
Mm-hmm.
the OTP service providers that we have got three vendors today. All
Right.
three vendors got choked up. Okay,
Right.
as soon as the maintenance window opened up, and fair enough, right? Everyone wants to enter and may place their
Mm-hmm.
order, wants to buy the dip. So everyone wanted to enter at the same point in time, and unfortunately, our service providers could not provide OTPs and help us with two-factor authentication, which created a slightly longer uh, um, issue. Now, that time we had two vendors. Now we've got a third vendor also to ensure that the scale is managed. We're
Mm-hmm.
also improving certain systems out there, which we found out can actually help in such scenarios. We are also we also recommend people to move to more secure systems like multi-factor authentication using a Google Auth or a Microsoft Auth, or there are multiple such service providers
Right.
out there, so that you get out of this SMS OTP piece, right? We recommend that
Right.
as well. There are pros and cons to all approaches, but 2FA through multiple other through other apps can be a good solution to avoid this OTP piece. We realize that also.
Mm-hmm.
So there are things that we can do to improve. Um, Fortunately for us, the exchanges infrastructure and liquidity were handled, so we did
Mm-hmm.
not have a challenge. Um, Internally, we are also looking at improving systems so that our dependencies which are there on third parties, right,
Mm-hmm.
that also gets reduced, and we have systems which work independent of the third party failing. So yeah, there are these steps that we are taking. There was definitely a lot of different events that led to the entire piece. Um, I agree. Decentralized systems. So decentralized systems help to a certain extent, um,
Mm-hmm.
right? They are also a very necessary requirement in the industry. But there are also a lot of things that decentralized systems may not be able to fulfill. I hope they are solving those problems also. So at the end of the day, there will be a mixture of players like us, players like decentralized systems. So uh, we were also working on projects on the decentralized side of things as well,
Mm-hmm.
which we had started way back in 2019.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, where, if I don't know whether you guys know about it, but we had acquired a company in 2019 which was working on the decentralized apps front. So 2019 is when we started this entire project. We are doing a lot of stuff there, trying to solve the problems of Dexes, and
Mm-hmm.
hopefully we'll come up with a solution for that.
Yeah, yeah, it's very relieving to know that the main system of CoinDCS did not crash, while the third-party operators or the service providers of for OTPs, right, that they crash, right? So, yeah, like we really talk a lot about cryptocurrencies and the investment strategies and plans, right? So let's switch back to some more personal and you know mindset-based questions, right? What is the skill set that you value the most in a person?
So I always value someone who is very sincere, right?
Right.
That's a quality underrated. Okay, I always want to have people around me who are ready to work hard. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and who are ready to work sincerely. Like sincerity is something, um, is that it's a value that you it comes imbibed in you. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
um, you work because you believe that you're making a difference, right? And that's a quality I feel people should have. um, the other piece that I always believe is, see, generally what happens is people skip a few steps because they feel, okay, that's where my next journey is, right?
Right.
Works out for people. At the end of the day, everyone learns either through experience or through academics. The
Right.
simpler way or the hard way, whichever way it is, people learn. But I would always value someone who is ready to put in that, also has good knowledge from the academic front. It's underrated. I believe schooling is good. I believe getting the ABCD right is very important than getting a PhD. Okay, that's how I value it. And yeah, so these are the two things that I cherish the most in people: the basic skills and sincerity.
Yeah, people should value the time more, right? I have seen that people, while a lot has been going on in the pandemic, right? Everyone is looking at different investment options, different aspects to life, right? And that's really great, but they are not sincere about that, right? For example, that they download the coin, they download any investment app, right? They learn a few things here and there, right? But eventually they end up giving on up on that, right? They think that it's too tough for them, and whatever the reasons may be, right? But they should really stick to it and be sincere about it. That's some really great advice. Coming on to the next question, right? What advice would you want to give your younger self in college?
My younger self in college,
Yeah.
buy some more Bitcoin.
Buy some Bitcoin. Yeah, that's a great advice. Other than
Uh,
that,
Other than that, no. So uh, honestly, the other thing I would say is take more chances. That's the other way putting it out there. I could have done a lot more stuff.
mhm,
If I had put in more efforts, right? It's not that I'm complaining that I did not put in efforts, but I could have put a lot more. So that's the only thing I would advise myself is take more chances.
yeah. Yeah, that's some solid advice right there. Now, all college students have this time, right? Um, and, and all those risks that we take right now are going to shape us into a better person, right? It all plays a part in our personality development and our character development, right? And in the long run, it's going to benefit us a lot, right? The ability to take risk is very much appreciated in the entrepreneurial world, right? So with that, so I guess we are at the end of our podcast. And is there any advice that you would like to give to the college engineering students? Like in India, our development sector for blockchain isn't that much tapped in, right? We haven't seen that much growth in the sector that we should have, right? Because there are projects like Matic that has been at the top of the charts, right? But as for the developer side of blockchain, right? Companies haven't shown much interest in it, and there hasn't been much exposure about it, right? What advice would you like to give to a developer in this blockchain world, right?
Again, I'll say, like, put honest efforts out there. Uh, there are a lot of engineers in India, but there are very few good engineers out there.
Right.
Right? So be part of the good engineer
Hmm.
group. Uh, Take pride in being part of such a group, and that's the only thing. Put in that efforts. You can put in today. You can put in tomorrow. You can put it day after. But keep doing that.
So yeah, that was a very fun and interesting conversation that we had right now. We talked all about from cryptocurrencies and its future, right? From the basis of blockchain and decentralization to the investment strategies, like and especially the Coin D6 and his marketing journey, what Try Crypto and Bitcoin Liaka stand for, right? And and the recent scenario and the crash that has been in the market, the current recovery, as well as the long-term goals that one can expect. And nonetheless, we also talked about the upcoming technologies in the blockchain world like the NFTs and are they the thing of the future. So yeah, that's all for this episode. So yeah, as for those of you who want to learn more about crypto and start their investment journey in crypto, so I will be linking down below the D6 Learn platform as well as the D6 Go app for trading, right? And as always, if you have any questions, you can ask them down below regarding crypto or the podcast, right? So yeah, thank you once again for being here on the Kairos podcast.
Sure. Thank you so much, Ayush, for your time, and all the best for all your podcasts in future.
And do you have any closing thoughts for our listeners and viewers out there?
Simple 2 words: try crypto.
This is where I share all the resources with you. For all those crypto enthusiasts out there who want daily updates on what's happening in the crypto world, what's happening with Bitcoin and Ethereum, and especially what's happening with altcoins. There's a channel called Altcoin Daily, which you can find on YouTube. He posts very short and informative videos daily on what's happening in the crypto world and what is the news surrounding it. I also personally use it to research about my crypto. You should definitely check it out. And as for the two videos that are lined up, the first one is the podcast with Vitalik, the founder of Ethereum. He has beautifully explained all about blockchain and crypto from the very basics to a decently advanced level. I assure you, if you watch that podcast, you will be ahead 80% of the crypto enthusiasts. I have linked that down below. And lastly, there's a banger video by Gary Vee who has explained all about NFTs, what they are, how do they work, and what specialties do they have, right? And what's happening with them right now in the present and what holds for its future. You should definitely check them out. As well as I have made crypto notes on the extensive research that I did for this very particular podcast. You can find them on kairos.in/podcast or the link is down below in the description. And while you are at it, do subscribe to our newsletter and get weekly updates on what sector is blooming. And with all that said, you have a wonderful day. Peace out.